Welcome to Whole and Healthy Cooking with Chef Val. Hi, I'm Chef Valerie Wilson. I've been teaching healthy, whole foods cooking classes since 1997, and I'm the author of 6 cookbooks. I teach cooking classes on a regular basis, and I offer one-on-one lifestyle counseling. You can see all that I have to offer on my website, macroval.com. Today, I wanted to teach you about Arrowroot, Kudzu, and Agar Flakes. All 3 ingredients you can use to thicken recipes, but they all have slightly different applications and slightly different health benefits. So let's start with Arrowroot. Arrowroot is your white powder, okay? Now this comes from the arrowroot plant. Arrowroot is very soothing to your intestinal tract and helps aid in digestion. And it comes from the arrowroot plant. Arrowroot actually grows wild here in Michigan. So arrowroot in cooking application is very good to thicken gravies and puddings and sauces. You have to dissolve the arrowroot in room temperature water to add it to a recipe such as gravy or pudding. Now there are some recipes that I make, like stews. After the vegetables are nice and soft, I can sprinkle the arrowroot on top very slowly and lightly and mix it in, and the arrowroot will thicken it that way too. But you have to be very careful that the arrowroot doesn't get lumpy when you use it in that application. So arrowroot is a thickening agent that we can use for gravies and puddings and stews. Kudzu. This is kudzu root, okay? So this one is in chunks, where arrowroot was powder. This one's in chunks. Very, very interesting. This comes from the kudzu plant, big, huge white root. This plant is so strong, they have a hard time killing it. And we know in Oriental medicine, they tell us whatever food we eat and goes inside of our body, we then take on those characteristics. So if you want to be really, really strong, kudzu. Kudzu also has the ability to help alkalize your system. And remember, we want our system to be slightly alkalized because disease lives in an acidic condition. Now, how can you get acidic? There's lots of different ways, but let's just take an example. You eat a dessert, maybe like a birthday cake that you know is really not good for you because it's very acidic, but you go ahead and indulge. You just don't feel good. Oh, my head hurts, I have no energy, I'm all like dragged down because I'm acidic. Kudzu can bring you back into balance. It can help alkalize you. It's awesome that way. Kudzu also has the ability to help treat migraine headaches because it helps dilate your blood vessels. Can help treat stiff muscles, like if your neck is stiff or your arms are stiff. Kudzu helps with that and also helps to bring down high blood pressure. So kudzu is a little more medicinal than arrowroot, although both are great. You can use kudzu to thicken gravies and puddings, just like you can arrowroot. You have to dissolve the kudzu in room temperature liquid, either water or whatever liquid you're working with, because it's in chunks. Now, kudzu will give you a little more creamy texture. So, I actually prefer kudzu when I make puddings, like a vanilla pudding or a chocolate pudding, and I'm starting with the liquid, and I need to thicken the liquid. The kudzu will give you a little more creamy texture than arrowroot, although both will work. Both will work in the recipes, all right? And then we have agar flakes. So agar flakes are a little bit different, but I wanted to include them in the video to teach you about these thickening agents that we can use. These are agar flakes. So it's weird because when you buy them in the store, they can be labeled agar flakes. They can be labeled agar flakes. They can be labeled Canton flakes. It's all the same thing. This is red algae that's been freeze-dried. So red algae, comes from the ocean, helps to alkalize your system. Very high in calcium and high in iron and minerals and trace minerals. It's a sea vegetable. So when I use agar flakes in a dessert, I always say this is like the healthiest dessert you can eat because you've got a sea vegetable in it. Although you don't have that flavor, like, the nori sea vegetable tends to have kind of a flavor that some people are kind of turned off by. I like it, but, some people are sensitive. Agar flakes has no flavor whatsoever. None of that sea vegetable flavor. Now, agar flakes is different than kudzu and arrowroot in that agar flakes will not thicken your liquid. You cannot use agar flakes to make a gravy. It won't thicken your gravy. What agar flakes does is it solidifies your liquid, whatever you're cooking, your liquid recipe, after the dish cools down. So if you want to make a substitute for Jell-O, because we don't want to eat Jell-O anymore, right? If you want to make a dish which is called a Canton, you use agar flakes, and the dish will set up with the same solid consistency as Jell-O after it gets cold, okay? So you use the agar flakes, you cook it in the hot liquid, and then you put it in the refrigerator and it'll solidify for you. That's what agar flakes do. So you cannot use agar flakes to create a gravy, as I mentioned before. So that's the difference. Now, if you want a Canton fruit recipe, you can join my Patreon group. It's a private cooking group where I post all kinds of cooking videos. And you can find a link to that at macroval.com. There's over 90 cooking videos already ready for you to watch, and I'm always making new videos. And this is a way that you can have a private chef in your house teaching you about healthy things like agar flakes, kudzu, arrowroot. All right. So those are our 3 thickening ingredients: arrowroot, kudzu, and agar flakes. And I hope you understand now how to use them and that you get a chance to use them. Now you can contact me at macroval.com. It has my email address on there. And you can tell me how you used these ingredients in your recipe and how it came out. Remember to like and share the video. And if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, your journey to eating healthy begins with one small step. Let's take that small step together.